Yes, it's like a Jane Austen novel with less courses.
And you are?
Mr. and Mrs. Crabtree.
Oh, yes, our newlyweds. I hope your ride-in was satisfactory.
Splendid. Are you Mr. Cornish?
Mr. Hathaway, I'll be looking after you. Now, let's get you your keys.
Oh, George, look. I can't wait to try authentic English cuisine.
Welsh rabbit.
Rarebit. It's cheese. I think.
Well, we'll have to make dinner reservations as soon as he's back.
Well, wouldn't you like to eat in our room? The Sunrise Suite is the best in the hotel. It's the only one with a private bathroom.
Isn't that the one we agreed was too expensive?
I've been corresponding with Mr. Cornish, and he agreed to offer it to us at no extra charge. The morning view is supposedly spectacular.
Well, I hope we'll find something better to do than watch the sunrise.
Here we are, then. Slatter will lead you to your suite.
Oh, my. How kind of you.
Slatter does not speak English. However, she is fluent in the language of hospitality. Enjoy your stay.
Oh, there seems to be some mistake.
I beg your pardon.
These keys are for the garden suite. Mr. Cornish promised us the Sunrise Suite.
Mr. Cornish is at a convention in Leeds. But it is he who authorized the switch. The garden suite is our top room, with finer amenities and a view of the rose garden. I assure you, your needs will be met.
You're welcome. Was I supposed to give her a tip? How many shillings in a fur? What's wrong?
This bed feels lumpy, and those creatures are ghastly.
Well, you'll feel better once you take in the rose garden. Come on. What do you think?
I think Mr. Hathaway is pulling a fast one.
You may need to let this go, Effie. I mean, somebody else must have booked the Sunrise Suite. There's not much we can do about it now. I think it'll take more than a bottle of wine to pull this off, Effie.
Don't be such a naysayer. I'm sure they'll be happy to switch once they learn we're on our honeymoon.
I don't know why you think this room is going to be any better than ours.
Well, you haven't seen it yet. Faces the sunrise, which is considered good luck.
Give it a proper policeman's knock.
George, he's dead.
Not so lucky after all.
Oh, postcard from Effie and George.
Oh, where are they now?
They've left Paris and they're due to arrive in Hampshire today. How thrilling it would be to be on your honeymoon.
It certainly was for us. Do you remember that dinner in New York City?
How could I forget? We couldn't keep our eyes off each other.
So much so we almost didn't notice the Oysters Rockefeller arriving.
I suppose it's hard to keep that kind of passion alive. What with Susanna and work.
Do you feel our relationship is lacking passion? Hello. Yes, it is. I'll be right there. Duty calls. Excuse me, miss. I'm looking for room 415.
The man who died?
Yes, you've heard.
I alerted the front desk when he wouldn't answer the door. None of us were surprised when he took his own life. He was acting peculiar.
It was a suicide.
As far as I know. Straight down the hall, second door to your left.
Thank you.
This one seems rather obvious.
An overdosing?
Based on the empty bottle of laudanum and the excess fluid in his throat, I'd say yes.
Do we have a name?
Nathan Cumberland, sir. Arrived last week from Thunder Bay. Told everyone in the hotel that his ship had finally come in.
Meaning?
Some real estate deal, sir. Poor man thought he had tripled his money. He was buying his fellow guests drinks all week and boasting about finally making his wife and child proud.
And his arrangement soured.
Apparently the check he received was fraudulent and his investor flew the coop. The other guests noted a concerning change in his demeanor after that.
Henry, does this man look familiar to you?
No? Should he?
I don't know.
Sir, this is Dr. Bellows. He was with the victim when he perished.
You're a doctor?
Yes. Yes, I'm staying at the hotel. They knocked on my door when they found him. I did everything I could.
Was he conscious when you arrived?
Barely. But he did seem to understand me. He willingly took the ipecac I gave him to expel the drugs. Unfortunately, it was too late.
People often have a change of heart when committing self-murder. Assuming that's what this was.
It's likely, sir. He also left this. It appears to be a suicide note.
I am leaving a world I'm not fit to live in. I have failed you as a husband, as a father, and as a fellow human being. It's tragic.
Is there anything else you need from me? I'm afraid I have an appointment.
No, thank you.
Constable Higgins has all my information. Good day.
Seems fairly open and shut, sir. Shall I write it up?
Not quite yet, Henry. There's something I'd like you to do for me.
I trust this will not impact my 8 o'clock dinner reservations. Not if I can help it.
Good evening, my lovelies. I'm sure we've all heard about the incident, but I can assure you everything is fine. His name was Arthur Furlong, a regular at this hotel. It appears he died in his sleep, and his family has been informed. Please enjoy some of our famous house sherry. Compliments of the hotel. And please, let's relax and put this mess behind us.
Good gracious. People drink this of their choice?
Do you think there's a killer among us?
A killer? Effie, did you not just hear what the man said?
Oh, come now. You really believe he died in his sleep? He couldn't have been a day over 50.
People can die at any age.
Mr. Hathaway is clearly in on it. In fact, now that everyone's mingling, it's a perfect time.
Perfect time for what?
To sneak into the room and poke around.
Effie, I'm an officer of the law.
Exactly. All the more reason. If there is a cover-up afoot, it's your duty as an investigator to follow up.
People do seem distracted.
Did I mention that danger makes me amorous?
I'll need your hairpin.
Never seen him before.
Are you certain?
Yes. Why not just close the file and be done with it? Poor bugger clearly offed himself.
He was supposedly swindled by an investor in a real estate scam, but I found no paperwork on his person or any sign of the investor.
You think there was no investor?
Or perhaps there was, but he removed any evidence to cover his tracks.
Sirs, I've searched our files and found no Nathan Cumberland. In fact, there's no record of him anywhere. But in good news, there's a new meat pie shop on Colborne. May I break for lunch?
Actually, I need you to pay a visit to Mrs. Hart at the morgue.
The meat pie shop's in the opposite direction, sir.
You might want to hold off on lunch. I need you to lift finger marks off a corpse.
Oh.
Oh, my. They have a love seat and a piano.
Are you crazy?
There is no chance the garden suite is the top suite in this hotel.
Wait a minute. Are we doing all of this so you could compare suites?
Oh, come on, George. You were curious, too.
I don't believe it. Do you even think this chap was murdered?
Lavender. Smells like the fields of Somerset.
Effie, the door. Get under the bed.
Did you get the finger marks?
Yes, sir, and you were right. Nathan Cumberland is actually Harvey Knowles, and we do have a file on him. Guess who opened it?
Afternoon, detective.
You know perfectly well I'm no longer a detective.
I do indeed, but I'm hoping I can convince you to play one, at least for an afternoon. I'm looking into a man's death.
You certainly are consistent.
His name is Harvey Knowles.
Who was that tip? Why did he have a gun? What was he doing in here?
George, look. The lavender soap. It's gone.
I suppose even murderers want a supple scent to their skin.
Oh my God. This is so exciting. Feel my heart. It's pounding.
Wait a minute. A man died on this bed.
Who cares?
George, that wasn't there before.
It's too warm.
Well, mice don't just die like that. Could it have eaten something?
Wait a minute. Effie, look at this.
That doesn't look right.
This hose has been disconnected.
Do you feel a little nauseous?
Oh my God. It's gas.
That was on purpose, wasn't it?
Someone was venting carbon monoxide into the room.
Well, does this mean what I think it means?
It means you were right the first time. Mr. Furlong didn't die of natural causes. He was murdered.
I can't believe it. There really is a killer among us.
Well, it's too late to alert the authorities, and we're a half day from civilization thanks to your insistence on booking the most remote hotel in the Western Hemisphere.
You're not really still on about that inn in Marseille you were pushing for.
No, I'm sorry. Look, we should work together.
Agreed. We're the only ones we can trust.
Someone's gone to great lengths to make Mr. Furlong's death look accidental.
The Sunrise Suite is the only one with a private bathroom.
Which means it's the only one that can be rigged to emit carbon monoxide.
Ergo, whoever arranged the switch must be in on it.
Mr. Hathaway.
I knew there was something off about him.
He must have made the switch when Mr. Cornish left for Leeds.
And then pretended the idea came from Mr. Cornish himself.
How do we prove it?
I saw a ledger behind the desk. Should tell us everything.
How do we get it without Hathaway seeing?
I have an idea.
Mrs. Crabtree, are you enjoying the splendors of the garden suite?
Oh, indeed, indeed. Now, who's this?
That's Mr. Cornish.
There seem to be many photos of him and none of you.
Not all of us are as vain as he.
You don't like him, do you? Are you jealous that he's been invited to a convention in Leeds while you're stuck here?
I wouldn't wish Leeds on anyone, least of all myself. Besides, Mr. Cornish has seniority over me, thus it was the logical choice.
Yes, that's one theory. Allow me to posit another. Mr. Cornish was chosen over you because as a manager, he would never have put up with this. We found this in our room. Is this the type of service becoming of your supposed top suite?
Please, keep your voice down.
I will not be silenced. Not until you tell me how a mouse got into my suite.
How about a fruit plate? A lovely selection of fruits will be on their way to your room, compliments of the house.
And a cheese plate.
Yes, of course, also complimentary.
And a bottle of Armagnac.
I can arrange some of our fine house sherry.
Armagnac, take or leave. 20 years minimum.
Perhaps I can rustle up a 10.
That may suffice.
And you need to promise to keep this little incident under wraps.
That'll depend on how quickly we get the goods. Chop, chop.
I employed Harvey Knowles on occasion as an informant. He used to run swindles.
Knowles was a con artist.
Charming one at that. Surprised to see him die this way.
You don't believe Knowles took his own life?
I don't believe Knowles would have fallen for a real estate scam.
What makes you so sure?
Well, he would have known what a fraudulent check looked like because he ended up running a fraudulent check scheme himself, which was rather out of character.
How so?
Knowles and his former partner in crime, Bernadette Childs, had a code in which they only swindled those they felt deserved it. They parted ways years earlier.
Did he find another partner?
If he did, that's news to me. Knowles was a solitary figure who kept to himself, and I haven't seen him in over a year.
Well, surely he must have a more current acquaintance that could help us.
No one I know. Although, I do recall a wealthy woman he was courting.
What was her name?
I'm sure I wrote it down somewhere. No, she'd be of little use.
Little is all we have.
I cannot believe it. My beloved Harvey taking his own life.
Did he strike you as depressed?
Oh, heavens, no. But he did strike me as passionate. I can only assume he was burdened by the passing of his beloved Aunt Esther.
Which aunt was this again?
Oh, his favorite, of course. The one who raised him after his parents died in that fire.
Did you know this woman?
We corresponded, often by mail. We never did meet in person, but I suppose it's for the best, given her condition.
Refresh my memory.
Oh, the poor woman suffered from tuberculosis. She was given months to live. But then Harvey found a revolutionary clinic in New York.
New York? That sounds like a costly undertaking.
Oh, it was, but it was worth it. The clinic prolonged her life by years. I was happy to chip in, buoyed by her lovely thank you letters.
These letters she sent, do you by chance still have them?
Good Lord, I knew it.
What is it?
The sunrise suite, not the garden suite, is the top suite.
That's all well and good, but perhaps we should focus on who switched the rooms.
Right, Constable, we are solving a murder here. This is curious. George, it wasn't Mr. Furlong who took our room.
Who did?
A man named Mr. Castle. And the switch was authorized by Mr. Hathaway, not Mr. Cornish.
Castle, isn't he the chap with the 8 p.m. dinner reservation?
So how did Mr. Castle and Mr. Furlong end up switching rooms?
If Castle was in the sunrise suite, where was Furlong?
Arthur Furlong at the Oak Suite.
Does that mean Castle's in the Oak Suite now?
Perhaps Mr. Castle rigged his room to emit carbon monoxide and then convinced Mr. Furlong to switch.
Hell of a way to commit a discreet murder.
Do you think Mr. Castle and Mr. Hathaway could be working together?
I think we need to get into that Oak Suite and see what we can find.
You said he had 8 p.m. dinner reservations?
It's 8:15 now. That room should be empty for another hour at least.
What if we get caught?
Then we pretend we're lost and tip immediately.
Shilling. Now, is that more or less than a farthing?
I don't think anybody knows. Let's get on with it.
Parents who died in a fire. That's quite the yarn.
Sometimes the bigger the lie, the easier it is to tell. Well, just as I suspected, the handwriting in Aunt Esther's thank you letters matches that of Harvey Knowles' suicide note.
He was posing as the grateful aunt to keep those checks coming.
Something tells me it isn't the first time he's pulled this scheme.
Leaving a number of potential victims with motive for murder.
The question is, where did he send these from? Certainly not New York, given the Ontario stamp.
Aha. Oh, Miss Alcock is not the sharpest tool in the shed. What's that?
A mistake?
Seems oddly placed for a mistake.
Is that some sort of flower?
A lily. Did I not see that on the sign at Hotel Florentine?
I'll have Henry connect with the concierge.
Oh, that is so not fair. This room has a chaise lounge.
Effie, focus.
Right.
Do you see anything unusual?
Only that Mr. Castle has exceptional taste in clothes. This is one of the most finely tailored shirts I've ever seen. Feel this.
GR hardly stands for Ernest Castle.
Oh, my.
Good Lord, his soap collection costs more than my entire wardrobe. Is that a gun case? Where's the gun?
What a tragedy. Poor Granville.
Granville.
Granville?
Oh, Granville Barrington. He was a favorite guest at the Florentine. Every guest was charmed and delighted by him. He was quite a character.
When did he stay there?
It must have been 2 months ago. He came in to cash in on a real estate deal, but unfortunately, the investor bamboozled him.
Let me guess, he gave Granville a fraudulent check and left town?
Why, yes. He took it very hard. He tried to end his own life. We are all very grateful there happened to be a doctor at the hotel.
Who administered ipecac in order to expel the laudanum he'd ingested?
Right again. It was quite the scene. Everyone was grateful to see Granville survive. The doctor even spearheaded a charity drive to get him back on his feet, and everyone chipped in.
The doctor who gave him the ipecac, do you remember his name?
Bellows, Dr. Gordon Bellows.
What's your business with Mr. Castle?
Well, you know, really, we were just interested in the layout of the room, and oh, you should see the soap.
George!
What? Back, get back here. Get back. Now I'm going to ask you one last time. What exactly is your business with Mr. Castle?
You're not Mr. Castle. You're George V, the King of England. GR, George Rex for the King. That's why you had those initials in your undergarments.
You saw my undergarments?
I can't believe we're sitting here with the King of England.
Keep your voice down. He is the king, and he could have you charged with treason.
So what are you doing in Hampshire?
I'm much more interested in why the two of you are here.
Well, we came for the lovely foliage and the world-class buffet.
I mean, why you are here in my room.
Your Majesty, please accept our humble apologies. I'm George Crabtree with the Toronto Constabulary, and I'm here on honeymoon with my wife, Effie.
You're a police officer.
In Canada, that's right.
Police or no police, you still need to explain why you are in my room.
Well, the truth is, Your Majesty, we found evidence that Arthur Furlong, the man staying in the Sunrise Suite, was murdered.
Carbon monoxide. Somebody tampered with the gas heater in his ensuite bathroom.
We were curious only because we were initially assigned that room.
If this is true, Your Majesty, our worst fears are confirmed. What you're about to hear must be kept in the strictest of confidence, by order of the Crown.
Yes, Your Majesty.
The reason my valet Wadsworth and I are traveling incognito is to visit my troubled son, Edward, who is honing his academics at a special school in Portsmouth. It was a risk I was willing to take, even given the presence of the Black Chalice. The Black Chalice is a secretive organization pushing back on my plans to reform the hereditary peerage.
We've long suspected that there might be members in these parts, and evidently we were right.
You see, Wadsworth secured me the hotel's top suite, which we must have unknowingly taken from you. I was unable to take my afternoon nap on account of my grievous musophobia.
Musophobia? Is that a British affliction?
His Majesty is fearful of mice.
So I fled my suite.
And neglected to inform me.
And happened upon Mr. Furlong enjoying a cigar in the garden. I explained my situation, and he offered to switch, since my room was clearly superior. Now that we know the room had been tampered with, the only conclusion is that we were the target.
We?
His Majesty is using the royal we.
So what is our plan?
We will do nothing.
But there's a murderer out there.
Given that their first attempt was a failure, they're unlikely to strike again tonight, so long as they assume we're not onto them. Now please, return to your room and pretend you know nothing. I will arrange for His Majesty to be escorted to safety at dawn.
You will remember me only as Ernest Castle, and you will never speak of this again.
I checked with the Canadian Medical Registry. Dr. Gordon Bellows has been dead for 5 years.
The person posing as him has procured a pretty penny off his name.
It's quite the brilliant scheme he and his partner Knowles had going. Knowles would check into a hotel posing as a man whose ship had come in.
And his partner in crime, posing as Dr. Bellows, would show up several days later.
Then Knowles would reveal that his windfall had backfired and made clear that he intended to take his own life, going so far as to ingest laudanum.
Dr. Bellows would be called in and use ipecac to expel the laudanum, creating a scene so authentic no one would dare question it.
The perfect opening to mount an appeal for money in Knowles' name, and then milking the hotel guests for everything they're worth.
He probably volunteered a large portion of his own money from the very first time they pulled this con.
Well, Harvey Knowles' murder seems to be coming into sharper focus.
Apparently, the swindler got swindled. His partner likely offed him to keep all the money.
Let's get a sketch of this medical imposter straight away.
I'll connect with our sketch artist and make sure Henry distributes it all over town.
One thing that bothers me. Hotel guests saw the doctor give the victim ipecac. Why didn't it work?
Once I deliver the sketch, I'll drop in on Mrs. Hart at the morgue.
Do you mind if I tag along?
You're not getting paid.
The King of England. Can you believe that just happened?
No, nor will anyone else. No one will believe this happened to us.
George, if Mr. Hathaway is a member of the Black Chalice, do you think he's working alone? Or...
We need to keep our voices down. We made a promise to the crown.
Then I suppose we have no choice but to get back to why we came here in the first place.
As suspected, his blood was saturated with opium and alcohol, the main ingredients in laudanum.
Why wasn't it expelled? Witnesses saw Knowles be administered ipecac.
They might have seen him take some kind of syrup, but it wasn't ipecac. I found traces of starches and sugars, nothing else.
Could our fake doctor have switched the ipecac for a placebo syrup?
If he did, he's guilty of murder.
You're welcome.
Hathaway can't be working alone. I bet she's in on it.
Maybe they're all in on it. Should we follow her?
Julia?
Hello, stranger.
What's all this?
Do you recognize this dress?
It's lovely. Should I?
I wore it on our honeymoon. The night we couldn't take our eyes off each other.
Oh.
The nanny has taken Susanna to the park. We have some time to kill.
Oh, Julia, I must admit, you've caught me off guard. Hello? Yes. Which intersection? I'll be right there. Julia, a man matching Dr. Bellow's description has been spotted. We'll have to delay our date, but only a little.
It was there, in the ruins of Thebes, where we found the lost tomb of Asclepius and discovered the healing properties of its sands. Sprinkle a few grains in your bed and watch as back pain, rheumatism, and arthritis disappear overnight. This miracle of the East can be yours for less than the cost of... Terribly sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We've just run out.
Should go upstairs in a moment, down. You're on the wrong floor, darling.
Seems curious that they need to lock the coal room.
Unless it serves some other purpose, like secret meeting room for the Black Chalice.
Yes, I've engaged in a swindle or two in my time to make ends meet, but I'm not a murderer.
You gave your partner a benign syrup when he was expecting ipecac.
Harvey was like a brother to me. Why would I want him dead?
To reap his half of the profits, for starters.
We were going to pull our hotel con in every province in the country, and we hadn't even finished Ontario yet. Yes, Detective Harvey was a financial windfall to me, but more important, he was my best friend. I am as devastated and confused by his death as everyone else is. May I please leave now? Thank you, gentlemen. I think I can take it from here.
Off he goes to swindle again.
Most likely. You have to admit, his story rings true.
I don't disagree. Why go through lengths to switch the ipecac when he could have ignored the call in the first place?
Unless someone else switched it without his knowledge.
But who would have access to his room? Friend?
Perhaps this warrants another visit to the hotel.
I don't think the Black Chalice are holding any meetings in here.
Let's just pretend to get some coal and go back to our room.
Well, we could if we had a coal shovel.
You lost it, remember?
No, dear, you lost it. In any case, I'll get some firewood.
Georgie, I hate to bring this up, but it was you who lost the shovel.
No, Effie, I clearly remember you had it when you were saying it felt drafty.
No, I distinctly... Ah! Oh, my God! Oh, my God! It's Mr. Cornish.
I guess he didn't make it to that convention in Leeds after all.
Your Majesty.
Mr. Castle, we hate to bother you, but we've got a bit of a situation.
This had better be good.
While collecting firewood, my wife and I discovered the body of Mr. Cornish.
The day manager? No, he's at a convention in Leeds.
No, he's in the coal room. He's been garroted.
Proof positive that Mr. Hathaway is a member of the Black Chalice.
And Zlata, too, no doubt. She had a key to the room.
I reckon the whole hotel is in on it.
Well, this changes everything. The assailants are going to know that we're onto them. This may trigger a response.
We need to leave now.
Agreed. But Mr. Hathaway is likely to be Black Chalice. You two newlyweds are going to need to help us by creating a distraction so that we can slip away to the stables.
How are we supposed to do that?
Well, a petty hotel squabble should do the trick. 10 minutes tops is all we need, but it'll need to feel authentic.
Can we count on you two?
I don't understand. I thought Mr. Cumberland took his own life.
His name was Harvey Knowles, and all is not what it seems. We need to know who among your staff would have access to room 415.
This is a small private hotel, and I run a very tight ship. The only ones with access would be myself and my cleaner, Mabel. And I, for one, never left my desk.
Well, then we'll need to speak with your cleaner.
I ran into her the morning that Mr. Knowles' body was found.
Of course. She's right over there. Mabel? A word?
Oh, this is not the woman that I met. Do you employ a different cleaner?
Not for the last 20 years.
The Crabtrees. How delightful. Did you enjoy the Armagnac?
Oh, do not play nice with us, Hathaway. We were shocked to learn that the garden suite is not, in fact, your top suite, and we demand to know why you gave it away to Mr. Castle.
Yes, we're oh so upset. And when I say we, I of course mean her.
Are we not a unified front on this?
Unified.
Oh, good Lord, George. Why did I ever marry you?
No, I don't know. That's a good question. If you love the sunrise suites much, perhaps you should marry
Nothing to
it.
say.
Have you lost your mind like you lost your little
Lost-
shovel?
Carry on.
Oh,
Carry
yes,
on.
lost the shovel. I'm the loser of all things,
Yes, you
aren't I?
lose things, George. You're about to lose the best thing that ever happened to
Oh,
you.
well, maybe that wouldn't be such a bad thing to lose after all. I didn't mean that last part. Urgent message from Mr. Castle. Wadsworth is compromised.
It wasn't supposed to get messy like this. All I had to do was authorize a room change, and they would do the dirty work. Oh, well. In for a penny, in for a pound.
Found the shovel. Effie, a telegram came through. Wadsworth is in on it. We need to warn the king.
Yes, a much more delicate nose.
How's this?
That's it. Let's get this picture up all over town straight away.
That may not be necessary. That's Bernadette Childs.
Harvey Knowles' former partner?
Yes, and I know where I might find her.
Your Majesty. Your Majesty.
We won't be needing this anymore.
Old habits die hard, huh, Bernadette?
Hello, Llewellyn. How'd you find me?
Every creature has a modus operandi, even a rat.
Is that all I am to you? A rat? I was your most valuable informant. We had interesting conversations back in the day. Me and you.
And Harvey Knowles, fellow con you once called a friend. Why did you do it?
Harvey broke the golden rule. A con capitalizes on greed, lust, vanity, but never human kindness. I couldn't sit by while he and his new partner swindled hotel guests who were only trying to be kind.
You speaking of rules is the very definition of irony.
Come on, Llewellyn. You once agreed with me on this. And it wasn't just the hotel guests Harvey swindled. It was his lover, his family, even me. A new partner of his must have rotted his brain.
So, that's why you switched the syrup? So Harvey would rot in a casket while his partner in crime rotted in jail?
It was protecting our livelihood. He crossed the line. There's a code.
There is indeed, which is why you need to come with me.
Thank you for the gun, Mr. Crabtree. I'm so sorry you're about to use it to unknowingly assassinate the king. You know, I wasn't sure what to do with you two at first. And then the perfect narrative presented itself. An epic fight over the Sunrise Suite.
That'll never work. You'd have to kill us too.
Precisely.
Oh.
Your authentic bickering is going to lend credence to my upcoming report. And it's going to confirm that you knocked Mr. Hathaway out. You stole his gun, and then you went after the man who unjustly took your honeymoon suite. Thanks to His Majesty's famous lust for guns, it is the only logical explanation as to why I found 3 dead bodies in the unfortunate aftermath of this shootout.
You're welcome.
I owe the both of you my eternal gratitude. I'd knight you if I could, but unfortunately, I think this must be kept under wraps.
We understand, Your Majesty.
I know it's not much, but please accept this small token as a measure of my appreciation.
My goodness. Your Majesty, thank you.
I've also secured you something else. For your remaining time at this hotel, the Sunrise Suite is yours.
Even better than knighthood.
I must say, Detective, solving a case again was quite satisfying.
For me and you both.
Can I interest you in a celebratory cocktail?
Alas, other plans are afoot. But I do hope we get to do this again, Watts. Soon.
Yes.
Told you this suite was lucky.
Julia?
William, I'm glad to see you back.
Oh, it's good to be back.
I'm sorry about before. I know how busy you are, and it was just a silly romantic notion. I should know that we can't just bring back the past.
Oh, I wouldn't exactly say that.
William, oysters Rockefeller. Like our honeymoon dinner in New York.
Only this time we'll definitely notice them arriving.
You remembered our song.
Of course. It was the greatest night of my life.
Well, the night is still young.